On the 12th of March 1938, Hitler invaded Austria. It was his first major step in his desire for world domination. Hitler's grand plan was to bring all ethnic Germans together under the umbrella of one huge empire, including Austria. His idea was to destabilize the country from within.
Nazi party members in Austria had been creating huge amounts of disruption, explosions, violence, all kinds of mayhem. He was able to argue that the Austrian dictator at the time was not controlling events that German speakers in Austria were suffering.
After months of civil disorder, the plan worked.
The government was overthrown and Hitler was invited to occupy Austria. It wasn't so much an invasion, if you like, as a lap of honour.
Hitler couldn't be certain how the Austrian population would react. If badly, it would put an end to any further plans for expansion. This time, his self-belief was well-founded, as the only resistance the army met was pushing through the sheer weight of the crowds. Hitler followed behind and crossed over the River Inn and into Austrian Braunau, the town where he was born.
Hitler obviously wanted to symbolize by his driving into Braunau the fact that he, as originally an Austrian who'd become head of Germany, symbolized in one person this merger of the two countries.
After passing through Braunau, his motorcade carried on to Linz, where he had gone to school and where he dreamt of being an artist decades earlier. That evening, he delivered a speech. After seeing the reaction of the crowds, he made a remarkable decision: that Austria wouldn't stay as a separate country within the German Empire, but that it would become part of Germany itself.
Hitler often thought on his feet, and he changed his views as circumstances dictated, and I think the very evident popularity of the Anschluss convinced him that this is the right way to go.
Hitler carried on his triumphant tour to Vienna.
Surely thoughts went back to that moment when he was down and out, without a penny in his pocket, with no hope really of what he was going to be in the future. And here he was, now adulated by the entire population of Vienna.
His returning in such a fashion cancelled out what had gone before. It didn't matter anymore. And he was saying, look at me, here I am, I've arrived. Anything that's gone before is irrelevant or didn't exist.
The end of his journey was here, the Habsburg Palace, where a crowd of more than 200,000 people had assembled.
It's such an amazing turnaround from a down and out to the leader of what is now the most powerful country in the whole of Europe.
He returns as the whole German people. He's the voice of the German people. He's no longer an individual.
Hitler must have felt invincible. He was godlike. And that there were no limits to what he could achieve. The only boundaries that exist are what exist in his own mind.
If there's one day that shook Hitler, this was that day. This was probably the moment when he thought, hey, I can't do any wrong here. Maybe I can take over the world.
And Channel 5's season focusing on the Nazis continues with one of the Third Reich's most shadowy projects, the